The great German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he says something, I won't say it as eloquently as he does, but he says this comment. He said, any idea or philosophy that cannot be traced back to Jesus Christ, you need to get rid of it.
So good.
A Christian man and a Muslim man were sitting on a plane. And a Muslim man was describing to the Christian man the difference between the Muslim faith and the Christian faith, Western Christian faith. So he took a piece of paper, drew two circles on it, and put a dot in the middle of each circle. And the Muslim man said, Chief, in a Muslim, that circle represents their faith. That dot is their life in the middle of their faith. He said, for the Western Christian, that circle represents their life, and their faith is a dot in the middle of their life. You see, the question we have to ask ourselves today, is Jesus an accessory? Is he an add-on? Is he when we need him? Or is he actually the definition of all of our existence? There's a great story of a very wealthy man who had a son. And this wealthy man, one of his passions was to collect art. In fact, he had a very extensive art gallery, very expensive, rare pieces of art. And this rich man had a son. And the son would leave the house every day and go into the town, and he befriended a local beggar, a local homeless man. So every day he would leave the house, go down and hang out with this beggar, and they became really good friends. Like they genuinely became friends. And they did this for some time. And the homeless man recognized that it'd been a couple days since the son had come to visit. And so he started to inquire and find out, why has so-and-so not come down? And he found out the son had passed away and had died. So the beggar was just grieved. He was just so grieved by the fact that his dear friend had passed away. So he wanted to do something. He wanted to do something as a gesture, something towards the father, the wealthy man. So he found some paper and got some crayons, and he drew a portrait of the son, of his friend. He drew a crayon portrait of the son, and he went to the wealthy man's house, and he walked up, and he found a servant, and he said, hey, the son of the man that owns this home always came into town to visit me, and we became friends. We became really good friends. And I just found out he passed away, and it grieved me. And so I drew this portrait, a crayon portrait of your son, of the man's son. Would you give this to him? And the servant said, okay, I'll take care of it. So the beggar left, and I don't know how much time went by, but now the servant's trying to figure out, how do I get this photo or this portrait to the man, my master? And so one day the master's leaving, and the servant runs down and says, sir, the other day a beggar came by, and apparently your son became really good friends with him. Every day would go down and hang out with him. Well, when the beggar found out that your son had died, he drew this portrait, this crayon portrait, and he wanted me to give it to you. And so the rich man said, and then that was that. He left. Well, sometime later, I don't know how much time passed, the rich man, the wealthy man, ended up dying and passing away. And in the will, it said that he wanted to auction off all the art gallery because he collected rare pieces of art. And so announcement went out, all the specialists, people that collect rare pieces of art, wealthy people showed up from all over. They came into the room where the auction was, and the beggar had heard that they were going to auction off the art gallery. So he went and ground up the nicest clothes he could find and sneaks in the back and finds a seat. And so the auctioneer, he pounded the gavel on the podium and said, we're going to start the auction. And so everybody sits down. There's an excitement in the room because they're excited to buy the rare pieces of art that no one's ever owned before, type of thing. And so he pounded the gavel, said, we're going to start the auction. And then he reads on the will, he said, the first condition in the will is that the first piece of art to be auctioned off is the crayon portrait of his son. And the whole room kind of, they want to bid on the pieces of art, not that particular one. So the beggar happens to be in the room. And so the auctioneer said, we're going to start the bid, starting price, asking for a starting price. No one bid. So the beggar reached in his pocket, pulled out a couple coins, and bid on the amount that he had in his pocket. He raised his hand and he bid the amount, and the auctioneer said, all right, there's the going price. Anybody else want to outbid? And no one bid. So going one, going twice, sold. So the beggar comes up to the front, he pulls out the coins, he gives them the coins, now he takes back the portrait that he drew a time ago. And as he's walking out the back door, the auctioneer looks at the will and says the second condition on the will is that whoever buys this portrait gets the entire art gallery.